the idea today is to discuss about percentages, right? We'll discuss certain important concepts that are not just relevant for the quantitative aptitude section, but also become quite a lot more important when you talk about the DI section, because percentage is a concept. It's not a chapter in itself. It's like a concept, and the concept of percentage, which consists of other smaller concepts, can actually be applied in setting up different kinds of questions, whether it be maths or whether it be the LRDI section. So we'll talk about that. So let me quickly start. Just give me a second. Yeah. So let me quickly start. I'll briefly start with what percentage actually means, right? What percentage means. If you look at the word percentage, okay. So percentage as a concept, right? What is percentage? Percentage is composed of two different words, right? Which means per cent, right? It's very similar to the usual way in which you talk when you say what is the per kg price of apples, right? So what do you do there? You just find out the price per kg of apples, right? So if you are, let's say, purchasing 5 kg of apples, suppose you're purchasing 5 kg of apples, and you're spending 100 rupees. Somebody asks you what's the per kg cost, right? So per kg cost is you divide 100 by 5, right? The per kg cost comes out to be 20 per kg, correct? Now per cent means 100, right? So per cent means per every 100, right? Per every 100. So for example, in this case, you divided by 5 because you wanted to find out per 1 kg, right? Now, if there is a number that is given to you as, let's say, 0.5, right? What is this as a percentage if somebody asks you? So, well, I know that 0.5 is out of 1, right? 0.5 is out of 1 because it is 0.5 by 1. So what is it out of 100? What is it out of 100? So if 0.5 is out of 1, what is it out of 100? Out of 100, it is just 0.5 multiplied by 100, right? That is 50%. And percent we usually denote by this sign, 50%. Now, to convert it in the opposite direction, I could say that 50% means 50 by 100, right? 50 out of 100. So what is it out of 1? It is 0.5 out of 1, right? So that's the kind of interconversion that usually happens between a decimal number or a fraction number, or between any number and the corresponding percentage, right? So that's the basic idea of a percentage. Do you guys understand what's the basic idea of percent? Why do we need percentage at all, right? Why do we need percent at all? Let me move on to the next slide. I'll tell you why do we need percentage at all. Okay. By now you should have understood that percentage means converting everything out of 100, right? So it sort of serves as a benchmark to evaluate different kinds of things, right? So for example, there are, let's say, two students, right? Student A scores 60 marks, right, out of 120, right? There is another student B, scores, let's say, 40 marks out of 80. I want to judge who is better. If you just look at absolute marks, you can say A is better, right? But A scored 60 marks also out of a larger, out of a larger maximum possible score of 120. B scored 40 out of 80, right? So for B, the paper consisted of only 80 marks. So maybe if B had more number of marks available to him, he would have scored higher, right? So that's where we actually try to convert it into a very common form. And the common form is determined by percentage. Everybody of you would have got certain percentage of marks in your 10th boards, in your 12th boards, right? Why is that needed? It is needed because I want to see how many A has scored out of 100, right? 100 is a very good number. How many A has scored out of 100? If A has scored 60 out of 120, right? 60 out of 120, he has scored this much out of 100, correct? Which is 50%. Similarly, how much B has scored out of 100? B scored 40 out of 80, right? B scored 40 out of 80. So again, B scored 50%. So we find that, you know, just by looking at it, you could have said that A is probably better and B is worse. But now we actually find out that none of them is better than the other, right? Both are on an equal footing. Why? Because we've converted it you know, we have taken the base as something common, which is 100, and tried to evaluate the performance of both A and B with respect to that benchmark. And that's the basic use of a percentage. Why we call it percent? Because we just want to take 100, right? 100 is a very good number. Things can be easily divided by 100. So for example, you could form your own unit, right? I mean, it's just for fun. You could form your own unit. I could possibly call something as tentage, maybe, right? Not percentage, percentage, right? Percentage. I could call it percentage. What would that mean? It would mean divide by 10. If 60 he's scoring out of 120, how many is he scoring out of 10? Right? He's scoring 5 out of 10. Right? If he's scoring 60 out of 120, I define a new unit which is called per 10. Right? I can define that. If he's scoring 60 out of 120, how many is he scoring out of 10? He's scoring 5 out of 10. If the other person B is scoring 40 out of 80, how many is he scoring out of 10? Again, he's also scoring 5 out of 10, right? And I could define a new symbol, right? Let's say this is my new symbol. Okay, this is my new symbol. So this is 5 tentage, right? But the idea is again very similar. You arrived at a similar conclusion, right? That both of them have fared equally well in the examination. Why? Because you were able to evaluate both of them at a common platform, which is converting it into 10. In percentage, which is a very standard thing, which is a very widely accepted phenomenon, we convert it into, you know, out of 100. That's the basic idea of a percentage, right? With this in mind, at least you should have clarity of what percentage is all about, right? Why do we need percentage? I explained you with the help of a real life example. If you want to judge the performance of two students, right? You don't know who is better. You want to arrive at a common benchmark, right? That's the basic idea of a percentage. Are you guys with me? Is it clear? So now talking about certain more important things. Now that we know, you know, what is the idea of a percentage, you will see things like 25% of 400, right? Things like 90% of 1080. What does this mean, right? Off, as you know, you would have studied probably in 4th or 5th standard. It comes from BOD mass, right? Bracket off. That off simply means it's a multiplication sign, right? It's a multiplication sign. So 25% of 400 simply means that if I were to convert, right? So if I were to convert 400 out of, if I were to probably multiply 400 by 25%, what would it become? Right? If I were to convert 25%, if I were to find out 25% of 400, that simply means it's like 25% multiplied by 400. What is 25%? We just discussed that fractions and percentages are interconvertible, right? So it is nothing but 25 by 100 into 400. 25 by 100 into 400, right? Which is 100 itself, right? Similarly, what you need to understand is just replace off with multiply, right? And 90% is nothing but 90 by 100, right? X percent is X by 100. So what is this? 90% of 1080. 90% of 1080 is this 108 into 9, right? Which is 970, right? So this is another thing that you need to know before you delve into percentages. Okay.